about the importance of CVs, crafting a good CV, the importance of networking, and the importance of presenting yourself in writing, and also presenting yourself as an individual. The reason why I felt the need to share this important information is because I see a lot of our people struggling. They have their degrees, they have their qualifications, and yet they seem to have issues when it comes to recruitment. So as somebody who's graduating from the youth sector to the senior youth to adulthood, you know, we have to have the generational dialogue. We have to have a dialogue where we help the percentage of the population, which is more 70% of the population are youth, and they're also women. And it's very important for you to be able to be equipped and to benefit also from your older colleagues, older siblings, friends, relatives. Get the information and get their experiences and benefit from it so that you can apply it into your life. So actually, I wanted to make the discussion more interactive. And I'd like to start by asking at least 5 people to share their experiences with applying for jobs so that we can hear what are some of the challenges. So please try to be also gender balanced. Maybe we can have three gentlemen and 2 ladies who can tell us a little bit about what is your experience in the employment sector. What are the challenges do you feel that you're facing? I know right now there's high youth unemployment. People like to talk about, we talk a lot about gender-based violence. We talk a lot about early child marriage, but we also don't talk much about high youth unemployment. So I would really like to hear if I'm clear enough, some feedback about what have been some of your challenges in applying for a job, and what are your concerns about making your CV and networking. So please, let's make it interactive.
Yeah, so you can raise your hand if you'd like to share your experience. Yes, Joseph Henry, you can go, please. Thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, me personally, like since I've been applying for jobs, I've never been called for an interview, apart from jobs where I'm maybe connected by someone. So I don't seem to be knowing where exactly the problem might be. I've never been called for an interview, except me being connected with someone, and I see this is a problem, like mostly with people here in South Sudan. It's very hard for you to get an advert and you apply and you get called for an interview when you're not connected by someone who is within or who knows someone there. So I really don't know where the problem is from. That has been my experience. Like, yeah.
And what is your field, by the way? What do you do?
IT. I do IT.
Oh, wow. You should even start your own business.
Yeah, maybe.
Mm. Is there anybody else who can share also? Okay, if there's no one else, let us go.
No, there are a lot of hands up.
There are hands up. Oh, sorry.
I see
That's
James,
good.
James,
Yeah.
and 676, and then Gale, and then Moro.
Oh, yes.
So you can go in that order.
Yes.
James, you can go, please. I think Gale, you can go if James is not ready. Gale or Moro, you can go. Any of you can go. Yes, Gale.
Very good afternoon to everyone. This is Gary Moses Azaria. I am nice meeting you once again. One of the that I've recorded is to optimize a CV in a sense that it is quite portable by recruiters, and how to come out with a compelling cover letter that suits the recruiter attention. In most cases, there's a lot of competition, a lot of CVs. So to streamline a cover letter or a CV to specifically meet that recruitment target is one of the biggest challenges that most people actually face.
Okay, thank you for your inputs. Gale? Maybe Moro, you can say something, but you need to raise your voice. You're not loud enough. Can you speak up, Moro?
Yes,
I'm sorry, Moro. I'm not sure if it's my earphones, but I'm not hearing you. Maybe James, you
hello,
can.
Ian.
Yes, yes.
Hello. You getting me now?
Yes, I'm getting you. This is Moro.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it was the mic issue. I'm saying, since I graduated in 2018, I enrolled immediately as a year, and I served the organization for 2 years. So after the end of my contract, in fact, it was a battle finding another job. As many may say, you write applications and you find that you you really cannot be shortlisted, except one with World Vision in 2022, where I was called for interview. And all this while, almost 50 plus applications, no shortlisting. And it was another colleague now who knew my expertise, who knows my potential, who in fact connected me to another organization for the job that I'm currently doing. But surely, formal application like this, it is really very difficult to go through. I can't tell why, but I have been trying hard to ensure I trim my resume or CV according to the requirements, as always has been communicated, but getting shortlisted is not an easy one. Thank you so much. That is my experience.
Okay, thank you, Moro. Thank you. I think we'll take maybe 2 more people and then we can continue. Or what do you think? Yes? Samson or James? Or Dada?
Hello, good afternoon, Ian, and
Yes, good
the
afternoon.
team. This is Dadason. Yeah, thank you so much for this initiative. I just wanted to have a small experience sharing. By profession, I'm a medical practitioner, and then, of course, getting job looks at the many factors. My experience is that when I graduated, of course, it was a little bit challenging, just because of issues of the CV, this and that. I applied so many times, I couldn't get shortlisted, and not until I got a support from my colleague, which made my CV to look a little bit fairer. So from that time, I was able to attend like 7 interviews in that same year. So I realized that there was something different that has to be done here with the CV. Thank you so much.
Wow, that's a very good success story. Thank you for sharing. And I think for the rest, can we be quick so that we can continue? I think we can continue from here. Let us continue. So I just wanted to share the reason why I wanted to share like how to make a CV is because having so many qualified people like yourselves, there's IT people, there's doctors, there's a lot of professionals, and it's very important to be able to craft a CV. So and also it's important to craft your cover letter in the right way. So let's have a look at a practical example of a CV, and I'll share with you my CV. I hope you're seeing my CV. I think now you can see, everybody?
Yes, we can see. Please proceed.
Yes. Yeah, so I just wanted to say that a CV is it's definitely your gateway to success. It's the first impression that the recruiters are going to get when they receive your documents. So what's important is the format, and there are different sections on the CV. What's important also is the grammar. You know how we like to say that English is not our mother tongue, but in this case, when you're presenting a document, language is important, clarity is important, and it has to be relatively interesting. Because all these recruiters will have so many CVs. In many cases, there may be thousands of CVs. So your CV must stand out to be different from other CVs. So they'll be browsing through and trying to choose one CV that will fit. So one of the problems that we have in our respective fields is that we don't try to see what is a job description. Like for me, I'm a journalist and I'm a communications person. So each time I apply for a job, if I apply as maybe as a reporter, or I apply as a communications specialist, or I apply as a journalist, I have to tailor my CV to the job that I'm going to do. And it will be different for each of you, especially because you're technical people. You know, you have your medical people here, you have your IT people, and you know the language and the jargon of your own technical field. So you'll have to be able to put your hard skills as well as your soft skills. But hard skills are more important. Your qualifications are the most important. And it will help if you have IT skills, be able to use Word, Excel, Access, and to be able to use PowerPoint. So taking a course in these kind of trainings will really benefit you, because as you know, we're becoming a technological era. So we have to have basics in word processing and IT skills. Language skills are always added advantage. So in the terms of soft skills, there are skills like communication, problem solving, being able to work in a team. These are all very important, but the hard skills are more important. So the CV will need to look very clean in the writing, clean in the presentation, with the right fonts, don't have colors. And then also what's important right now in the world is that we don't put photos, we don't put age. In the past, maybe in the last 10 years, because for me, I've been working for 15 years. So in the past, we used to put our age. But right now, you don't put your age because of discrimination laws. You don't have to put your orientation, if that applies maybe to other countries. You don't have to put your status, but there may be some other questions that are relevant. But the main thing is to have your name on the top, and then you have your address and contact details. So we'll go through the CV. Has to be written well, has to be concise. You start with a summary immediately after your name and your contacts. And then you start with your qualifications, and then your core competencies, and then professional experiences start from the latest professional experience. I think my CV is not even up to date. It's a little bit not up to date because I just started working recently. But put your core competencies that are relevant to your field. Like in my case here, My core competencies are campaign development, relationship management, public relations, crisis communications, social media campaigns. So in terms of your core competencies and in terms of your qualifications, you must know that every year your qualifications, they will be good for you, but you still have to be dynamic and know what is happening in your field. So if something is happening, if something is new in the field, like for example, in our case, as media people, data journalism is one of the skills that we need to acquire. Data journalism, fact checking is very crucial for us, and and digital security. So it's important for you to develop your core competencies and skills as the time goes by. So this is my CV as a journalist. I put some of my writings and link them directly. And then, as you see here, each job is presented here. The title of the job, what kind of work that I did, the date, and the location. So this is a generic kind of CV that you can get on Word. You can also get it on Google. And I go through all of the work that I've done, and I've even included a documentary here. So the experiences that I have, and then my education. And I'm sure for other people, they have, maybe they're doing their master's, they're doing their PhD, they're doing some specialized training. They can add that, and also the referees. So this is just a general look at the CV. Very simple, 2 pages only, and a summary of everything that I've been doing. So in terms of the CV, it's very important to know that bad grammar and spelling can also make the recruiter get turned off, especially if you're working for a big organization. Like, for example, if it's an international organization, they'll be looking at the way that you present the language, the way that you present yourself, and how summarized that you are. So other things that make can make your CV unattractive also is using the wrong font and adding information that you shouldn't be putting there. So don't forget that you shouldn't put any photos and any personal details at all. So the main point of the CV is for you to be the perfect fit for the job. So it should present all the details that make you the perfect fit. And for you to get that, you have to make sure you go through all the job descriptions and all the terms of references, or not all, but try to go through many and go through your terms of reference and try to be mindful to see how you have how you can bring the skills into your CV. So this is just an example of the CV, and let us go through and look at let's look at a cover letter. And then we'll move on from there. So, sorry, let me just. So cover letter. So this is, let me see, is it sharing the screen?
Okay. Yeah, so thank you so much, Ian, as you fetch that document. I think the key takeaway from her presentation is when you are working on your CV or your resume, there are some basic aspects. First of all, it should have the header. So the header is basically your name and your contact information. And then you should include your professional summary that pretty much summarizes everything in your CV, so that like if in case the recruiter doesn't look through like all the rest of the document, but at least the professional summary like sums up everything you have written. And then after the professional summary, you could include your skills, both your technical and soft skills that align with the specific job that you're applying for at that particular time. Because like she mentioned, this thing is dynamic. It is not static. So dynamic means that it changes based on the role that you are applying for. Yes. So Ian, you can proceed, and then I will just make the comments later. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So this is just an example of a cover letter. So just to go back to our three brothers who spoke earlier, I really like the testimony of the gentleman who said that he, when he changed his CV, then he was able to apply and to get feedback on his CV. So as you know, we need not to suffer from disillusionments and not to suffer from being lazy. Like, we need to be mindful when we're writing. So this is an example of the latest cover letter that I wrote. And I submitted it, and then I got feedback, and then I started working. So I wrote about, you know, I've been doing some activism. So I wrote a little bit about the justice that I was doing, the activism. And then I wrote about my 10 years experience. I summarized basically my CV. And then I was saying what I brought to the table, that I'll be able to mentor, and I'll be able to provide technical and administrative expertise. I mentioned my skills, my technical skills, web and social media management, my writing skills, and then the kind of work that I've done, and then the institutions that I've worked with. And then I mentioned my soft skills, my ability to speak in languages. And then also I mentioned my work, my history of my work, that I worked in Sudan and I worked in South Sudan. And then I also mentioned some relevant training, because the job that I was applying for was actually a gender and communications job. So I'm trained on gender and responsive and sensitive reporting. And then I've also been part of fact-checking and a TOT for data security. So I mentioned all of these issues all in one page in a summarized language. And this is just an example of the kind of cover letter that can appeal to somebody. So if you take your time to mindfully write a cover letter that is interesting and summarized, you will even win the heart of the recruiters, because the recruiters have to not just, they'll read your document, but they need to feel like this is the kind of person that we would like to have in our organization. So the writing makes an impact in if you will be chosen or not. So do take your time to prepare your CV in a nice way, and your cover letter in a way that is presentable. You put your contact details on the top, make a little title saying that it's a cover letter, have your email, you could put the date, and have a sensible email. Don't have some immature email. You know, like say that, you know, I call myself Ian Cool Dude 2022 or something. Like, you have to have a serious kind of email so that you'll be taken seriously, and then put some serious fonts. If you put weird fonts also, you will not be taken seriously. So you don't have to put any other details also. It's a very straightforward exercise, but it's very, very impactful. And for myself, I've written a couple of cover letters for people and some CVs for people, and they actually went on to get some jobs. So I would like to move on from here and to share about my own experiences also in the last 3 years, my own experiences of unemployment. And I would like to share about my own experiences with making a CV before we go into networking and go into career, like presentation in the context of career development. So in my own experience, I've worked for 15 years, and I've worked for the UN and work for the political party. And in general, you know, I've been privileged to be able to submit winning CVs each time. And that's why I thought maybe it would be good for me to share the experiences that I've had. It seems that when I share the CV, they're simple and they get to the point. And also when I write for other people, I summarize their CVs, it's aesthetically attractive, and people get the jobs just from the CV, the presentation of the CV. And some of them didn't even have connections. So with the CV, one thing that I like to say is that don't tailor it to every individual job. And then also let somebody look at it for you. You may even have mentors who are more advanced than you, more experienced than you. Let them have a look at it. Let it be improved aesthetically. Experience is valued, but definitely qualifications. The more qualifications you have, the better. And always be concerned with educating yourself all the time. Educate yourself and keeping relevant with the times. Like, for example, now climate change, in journalism, climate change is the new buzzword and everybody's interest. So if somebody specializes in climate change or they specialize in gender mainstreaming, they're likely to be able to get some more employment. Like right now, gender experts are required in many institutions. Another very valuable skill is project management. If you'd like to work for an organization, project management talks a lot about obviously project management and implementation and dealing with the civil society. And it's definitely a skill that will help you be relevant in these organizations. And it gives you like an added advantage. So in general, I would like to say that it's important for you to be educated, but it's very important for you also to have a special talent, something that makes you stand out. Your personality needs to stand out. Like one of the issues that I've seen in our society as youth is that we have, we have a sense of entitlement sometimes. In my experience, I've worked for 15 years, but every time I apply for a job, I behave as if I'm not going to get the job. And I behave as if it's the first time I've ever applied for a job. So we don't have to assume that because we've applied for a job, that we must get it and that we are the qualified person. We have to realize that, in terms of, we have to realize that we have to have an attitude of, like in Arabic, they say, ruh riyadiyah, right? You have to have an attitude where if you get the job, well and good. If you don't get the job, you should realize that maybe it's in your best interest. Maybe not only that you're not the best fit, but maybe this organization is not the best fit for you either. So we should not beat ourselves up or feel angry all the time when we don't get the job. In my experience in the last 3 years, actually was temporarily jobless. So I wanted to share that because I want to share what did I do in the time when I had a contract for 6 years, as you saw on my CV, with a company that was paying quite well. So in this last 3 years, I had to transition out of the company for my own good also. So I did not renew my contract, but I ended up in the civil society. I ended up in the media, and I ended up taking I think I took at least 4 professional courses when I was unemployed. And then I'd be employed, and then sometimes I'd be unemployed. So I think I must have gone to at least 100 workshops in the last three years. So I went to any workshop that was relevant to me, relevant to my interest. So if it was to do with media, I went there. If it was to do with transitional justice, and if it was to do with security, I was there. I networked until I was put into the system, until people they viewed me as part of their network and part of their unit. So I made myself available. I'd be doing rapporteur work, I'd be doing secretarial work, I'd be doing facilitation work. And through this networking, I've already delved into networking. So networking is very important. I will ask you shortly, what is your experience about networking? But networking is important because like in the last 3 years, I was able to get three or four consultancies just by leaving my house and networking. So from one event where I was invited to a workshop, I gave a presentation on my field. And then the next moment, I was asked to do some writing. So I wrote some articles that were published and paid for. And from there, I was even contracted to do a magazine, to do a book, all from going to this one workshop. So when you go to these workshops, don't go there because you need transport refund only, right? Because some of us go there because we need transport refund. But go there because you're going to meet people, you're going to showcase your talents, you're going to showcase your skills. Don't go there because you want to post it on Facebook tomorrow. And I'm sure you people here, you're not the type because you're all professional people, you know. But there are other individuals and young people who tend to go somewhere just to show that they were there, they were at Pyramid, but they've not made any contacts, they've not gotten any opportunities, and they've not gotten any leeways. As I was saying, in these 3 years, I went to more than maybe 100 workshops in 3 years, to be honest, there were a lot. And then in that time, I got almost 3 contracts just from going to these workshops. And then I was even given some work to do, rapporteur work, and sometimes they pay me $200, they pay me $300 to do the work. Sometimes rapporteur work is something that anyone in this forum can do in the meantime, while they've not gotten the job that they desire. So as I was saying earlier, the job that you don't get when you've applied, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong necessarily. It may mean that your desired job is still on the way. But the question is, what is it that you do when you're not working, right? When you're not working, life is very hard when you don't have money, but still you have to keep moving. As long as you leave the house and go where there's people and network, you will get your opportunities every day. So this is my personal experience in networking, and in personal experience, I was even able to go to Rajaf. I was connected to IGAT, where I was considered one of the CSOs that were always they were being requested to give inputs on what's going on in the civil society. I went to Rwanda last year, where I was given a panel discussion to present. I ended up going to Tanzania last year, and I ended up going for a training on digital security last year. And the reason why I was able to go to the training on digital security is because 2 years ago, when I was not employed, I enrolled into a training with Defy Hate and Safetycom, and I did a training on data journalism, fact-checking, and mitigation of hate speech. That's where I developed the interest. And from there, I was chosen in another training by SIHA. And then later on, they sent a form asking, does anybody want to go and attend the physical training? And I applied for it. Like when you see a training that's online also, like for example, imagine applying to go for a physical training in Addis just by using the form. You know, some people don't even take technology seriously. They don't take the form seriously. They don't take opportunities seriously. There's so many opportunities for young people, for people to go to the UN, for people to represent women, to represent youth, to represent their industry. But many people don't take it seriously, and they're losing out on opportunities, especially because now everything is becoming digital. Everything is being done online. So this is the experience that I had in networking, and I felt the need to share with you. And I felt the need that I wanted to share about some of my colleagues. Like I had one colleague of mine who applied to CRS. He said he wanted to work in CRS. And he applied to CRS for 6 times, can you believe? Because he wanted to work in a particular area. He wanted to work in Duk. So he kept applying. And then when he came back to me, by the 6th time he told me that I really wanted to apply to this job. And then I told him, don't give up, apply again. and you'll get the job, because people will see how serious you are. So he applied 6 times. By the 7th time, he went, came back, and then he was celebrating because he got the job. So on the 7th time when he applied for the same job, he got the job. So I found that to be quite amazing for you to have so much persistence, because he wanted to go to Duke. He desired to go to Duke. He applied in the same institution until he finally got there. So I wanted to say that even if there's a desire that you have, you first have to plan, like your career outlook. What is your map? Where do you see yourself? So having a career plan is not just about your CV. It's not just about applying for jobs. What is your plan? For example, when I worked for the SPLM, then there was a war during 2013. I decided not to be I decided not to follow any godfathers or godmothers. So some people are still in the party right now, and I moved on and I focused on my career until I developed myself and specialized in a certain area, and I've moved on. And some people are still in the same place and they're still suffering. So you have to have a vision for yourself. So your career map is not only about your CV, it's not only about your trainings. The trainings are really important. The qualifications are crucial, but your attitude and your vision for yourself is clearly as important. So I've talked a lot about networking, and I would really like to, I'd like to get some feedback before I talk about presentation, to share about the experiences in presentation. So I'd really love to get some feedback about what's your opinion about networking. How do you feel about your networking skills? What would you like to learn more about networking? And I just want to make sure you're all still alive and you're not bored to death.
Yes, I see a hand from Agui Mayuat. You want to say something? Agui, you want to say something? Yes, so the question here is, what is your view of networking? How do you network? What are the challenges you face in networking? What are some specific things? What are some of the tips and tricks you want to learn from a professional like Ayen? So if you have any of those questions, you can type them in the chat box or raise your hand so that you can ask your question or put your comments. Also, if you have additional comments based on what she has said, you should kindly ask. I see a hand from Agui Mayuat. Yes, please ask your question. You're welcome. Okay, looks like
yes.
person has dropped.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Proceed.
Yes, this is Angui. Thank you for the chance. Yes, I think it is a good experience sharing. You know, currently I'm education project manager with one of the international NGOs. And what made me also interested to attend this was just because before I could also get unemployment, I had also been trying with some other companies and other NGOs, especially with 2 organizations that have applied even sometime for 10 times, and I could not be called for an interview. So that we could also see where there could be a reason. It is true that sometimes you may be applying and you are not taken, and not because that maybe you have not had an issue work or you are not qualified, but sometimes it may not be the time for you, or it was not also aligned to your objective. Then another one, which Ayan has also stated the experience, it is true with the networking. Sometimes there are people who would want to just look for a job. Sometimes you may be looking for a job, and some people will say they wanted their experience. So for networking, somebody can even volunteer, and you attend some workshop, and there is a presentation, you present yourself well, then now that is already a networking. Some people who are already will start to you your capability when there is opportunity of applying later of a position. Later on they can see and then they can offer for you that job. And this is how I got a job, because it was through making a presentation in the workshop, and it was through youth. It's a CBO where I was just volunteering, and I presented very well. And later on, when there was opportunity, I was shortlisted and I got a job, and I continued from there. So sometimes, without even getting experience, without being known, without by some people, it is difficult sometimes to even believe on you that you can do something. Thank you. This is some of the experience that I want to share.
Thank you so much.
Yes, that was nice. That was nice. So like I like the aspect of taking a volunteer opportunity with a community-based organization, and as a result of that opportunity, you are to give a presentation, and you are able to connect with other people that landed you even a bigger opportunity. You see, so like you see the connection there. I like that aspect. Thank you so much for sharing that. I believe that it has inspired someone here, and I'm even moved by that. Yes, Joseph Henry, and then Gale later.
Yeah, thank you once again. I think the importance of networking. I think networking is next to being qualified and building your skills around your field. Because as I told you earlier, from my experience, like applying by just my qualifications and my CV and what has not been able to help. It's only new people and people with whom I've networked with before, like people I knew from school, people I've interacted with. And those are the networks that help me to at least get to do what. So I think next to being qualified and building skills around your field, networking. So that's why now me I've decided like I just want to build activities around my field, and I also want to network enough before I can start to apply more jobs.
Yeah, sure, Joseph Henry. Thank you so much for sharing that experience. We have Gale Moses and then Dengatem.
And God has been spoken like adding things in the
I'm sorry, but
right?
sorry, Gale, you're not so clear.
Oh, am I loud now?
You're okay, but there's something in the background. James, can you mute? I think James needs to mute. Sorry. Yeah, thank you. Go ahead.
Yes, what I'm trying to say is networking currently is a big deal. If you really need to move and find something better, you need to think outside box. And in most cases, be proactive and monitor your network. Most of us really happen to get something better through network. Though we continue to apply for jobs, but getting connected to so many people pay back in the sense that in some networking environments, you'll be in position to sell out your expertise, your experiences, and somebody somewhere will be in position to notice that somebody else there is having a potential. So as a youth, what I can say is try as much as possible to expand your territories, try to get recognized with so many people, expand your circle, and try as much as possible to craft yourself in an environment and network so that people get to know what you can offer best. I personally met Ian in so many networks, and that's when we got to know each other when I was still studying in journalism field. And as an experience, really, I believe if you can network with so many people, please, you will be in position to get in contact with people that can help you. Stay focused, and basically you need to know what you really want. It's not just only networking, but going into that network, you really need to know what you want outside there, and feel, every time you are with people, always feel that you can deliver something better. So don't always think that I need to be waiting for feedback from my application, or always waiting for calls from the application that is submitted, but always reach out to people, get yourself to be known, and attend events. Most of us youth, we spend a lot of time doing things that cannot really pay back to us than spending time in looking for opportunities that we can engage. So this is the time that you need to expand your territory, you need to network, you need to participate in events that you can easily identify some areas that you can participate. Thank you. And maybe the last thing to ask you, Ian, is in the part of CV and the cover letter, maybe for clear understanding, how much time does recruiters spend in reviewing a CV or cover letter? That's also key, so that somebody knows what CV can I optimize, and what is the professional length of a CV? Thank you.
Thank you. Moses, thank you for your contribution. Yeah, definitely networking is important. In terms of
we have one more person, Ian.
Okay.
There's Deng Atem. Let them just give their comments, and then you comment once. Yes, Deng Atem, you're welcome, and then user later.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you very much, Madam Mayan, for sharing with us your experiences. Am I loud and clear? Confirm?
Very.
Yeah. Just to share my experience and on the networking, especially, I've been trying, to reach out to some government official, especially when I was looking for these JOCs, joint operating companies like DAR and GPOC. Those companies don't advertise, but they get people through, recommendation from big people, especially those big guys who sits in J1 and, those key offices. At some point I was trying to do networking. I went to a certain big man, I approached him, and then I told him, what, I'm a young graduate, someone who is dynamic, knowledgeable, but then I have no job and I have no someone to back me up. So I really need your help. Then he asked me, young man, what are you looking for? Then I told him, I want to work with Dar Petroleum or GPOC. But then getting in is a problem. So they accept people only through recommendation. Then he told me, what it is, that's not how they do it. You have to, apply after applying. Now you go for a job interview. This is not how.
Hi, Jumia. Yes, you talking.
Ian, can you hear him?
I'm not hearing him.
Yes, Deng Atem, looks like we have lost you a bit. Maybe we can give to user, and then Deng Atem can come later. But I like the aspect of Deng Atem, like being very specific about the kind of job he wants and the kind of entity that he wants to work for. I think it connects with the earlier point that Gale made, that first of all, you need to know what you want. Yeah, like avoid this thing of I can do any kind of a job, right? You need to be very, very specific about what you want. If you know what you want, and like what Deng mentioned, then it would work. Yes, user, you can proceed, please. After that, we can give to Kitab. User. Okay, Kitab, are you ready? You can go. Kitab.
Hello.
Yes, Dengatem.
Hello. Yes, sorry, I lost connection. I think my internet is misbehaving. Yeah.
You can proceed.
Actually, it's a bit. Yeah. So sharing that example, I came to realize that there are challenges in networking, especially when you experience the rejection and disappointment, like what has happened. Rejection and disappointment. Reaching out to potential contacts and applying opportunities, in most cases can result in rejection and lack of response, which may be disheartening actually, and it may be challenging for someone to keep on networking. So this is one of the challenges I've found, but then I did not give up. I kept on networking, and one best practice I could share is that I had a friend of mine whom we were studying together. Certain organization, then we revised together, and then I have the qualification and experience. So what I did was that I talked to him. I told him, look, there's a position here with your organization, and I met the requirement. So could you kindly advise me whether I should apply or not? Then he told me, please, if you have those requirements, apply for the job. I applied. Then he did his best. He longlisted my name, and I was shortlisted. So when I went for interview, luckily enough, I passed it. Then I was given that job. It was actually a senior position, and then from there the project ended. So networking is really helpful in some ways, and it is challenging, but one should not give up. You should keep on trying. This is what I can share.
Great, thank you so much. Dengatem, we have Banya Tom, and user, your hand is up, but I don't know if you are...
Yeah, thank you, Bida. In the first place, I want to apologize to really few people because where I'm attending this training, it's unbelievable. What Ian has said has really given me much motivation and it boosted my morale. I just want to say one thing. Mostly as the youth of South Sudan, there's one disease that we have in common. One is the job discrimination. Most of us prefer these white-collar jobs than to these, some of them they call hustling. As a graduate, it doesn't mean that when you graduate, you immediately be working in a big office, driven or be flying everywhere. No. There are some jobs that we really need to undertake because we need to start life with them. So what Ian is saying is really very, very helpful. And in that context, I really believe that this idea of discriminating jobs, we as youth people, we can live it. It's going to be very helpful to us. That's what I just want to say. Thank you.
Okay, user, can you speak now? Oh, you cannot still. If you cannot, then I would hand it to Ian. Ian, over to you, please. Thank you.
Yes, sorry, I was muted. Thank you for your feedback. I really like the statement about managing expectations. And I think this was the inspiration for the for this webinar, not just the how to make a CV, but all the attitudes and all the preparations, the whole process of having a CV, the whole process of trying to get employed, the whole process of what are you doing while you're not employed, the whole process of networking, what kind of a person are you? How do you present yourself? So it's not just about making the CV and applying for the job, but you do have to manage your expectations. You may be accepted, you may be rejected. And I think that is a discussion that we need to have as people of South Sudan and as youth, because I hear a lot of complaints. We're always complaining, I applied, they're tribalist, or they're, I didn't have connections. But also, what are you doing? Did you network at the time? I mean, in the world, networking is important. It's not just in South Sudan, even in other countries, it's important. Like, for example, you can be connected by your university lecturer. You can be connected by people from your university. You can be connected by people within your industry. And like one of the other colleagues said, that he wants to network within his field. Like, there's no use of me now going to network with the medical people, and I'm a journalist. In the short time when I networked within my field, immediately I had opportunities. So if you have the skills and if you're good at what you're doing, if you're in the right place at the right time, if you're lucid as well, like you're present in the mind and you're participating in your industry, you should be able to get an opportunity, get some contracts. It's not just about having a 9-to-5 employment. There's also consultancies. So I like the idea of knowing what you want. Like many times when people are asking, I get a lot of people asking me to help them get a job. And I actually have a lot of CVs in the house. So many people bring their CVs. And then the biggest issue is that we don't have a vision for ourselves. What is it that we want to do? Like, I've met people who said, I'll do anything. But as Bida said, you have to know what is your end point. Like, for example, who do you want to be? If you want to be the president of South Sudan, there's a certain career path that you need to take. If you want to be the president, you don't need to do any job. You don't need to be cleaning, for example. If you want to be the president, you need to follow a certain path. Even with your academics, you need to follow a certain path, and then you need to follow a certain path even with work. You have to decide if you want to work as a lawyer in a law firm. Do you want to study politics and become a policymaker? Do you want to work in the government? And this, in the end, it will take you to be the president of this country. So you have to have a plan. It's not just about your career path is equally as important as the job that you're getting. So even when you're applying for this job, why are you applying for this job? Yes, sometimes we're applying for the job because we need money. Yes. But at the end of the day, do we know ourselves, the talents that we have, the path that we have, the plan that we have in the future? Like, for example, there's certain jobs that, you may have done a certain job. Like for me, there's a certain job that I did. And then I asked myself, why did I do this job? Yes, it was paying well, but it actually detracted me from my career. I missed a lot of opportunities. I was irrelevant almost for 6 years until all of a sudden I came back into the media industry where I became relevant within my industry. So you have to make sure when you're applying for the job, is it relevant to you even? So these are the questions that we need to ask ourselves. It's not just about simply crafting the CV, but it's about you as a person. What is your vision for yourself? So I really like the idea of managing your disappointment, managing your expectations, and knowing that you may get the job, you may not get the job. Sometimes it may be your CV, sometimes it may not be your CV. Sometimes maybe there's an organization that is not diverse. And in reality, if you were not taken for this organization that's not diverse, like for example, you apply for a job and then say they're all, like, let me use my tribe as an example. I'm a Dinka. Say you applied for a job in my company and we're all Dinka and I didn't take you. Don't you think that it's better that you didn't get into that organization? Because that means I don't have diversity in my organization. So we have to also realize that sometimes the jobs that we apply for, if there's a situation where it was not, we didn't make it, it may not just be about our qualifications, but it has to do with also the fit. We may not be the right fit, and it also may not be the right fit for us, as we said earlier on. So networking is very important, as we discussed, and I really like the feedback. I wanted to talk about recruitment. The CV, a normal CV or a good CV is supposed to be concise, at least 2 pages, and it should have all the details. It should have your name on the top. It should have your address. Your contacts are very important. It should have in the top. It should have a summary of your skills, and then it will go on to your professional skills, and it will go on to your recruitment. Sorry, your professional experience from the latest downwards, and then it will have your academic qualifications from your latest academic qualification, and then at the end it should have languages and other skills, and also your references. So a CV should be at least, it should be no more than 2 pages if you want it to attract the recruiters. And me personally, my CV, I had a CV that I used for almost 10 years, but recently in the last 5 years, 2 people have edited my CVs. One of them was a medical person. She edited for me and she made it professional. And the other person was a researcher. And you know how technical researchers are. So after my CV was edited, he gave me a sample of a CV, and then I edited my own CV and tailored it for a couple of jobs. Maybe I applied for, in the last 3 years, I applied for 2 jobs, of which I got some consultancies, and I applied for 1 job, which I got in the last 3 weeks. So I've edited my CV twice, and I've had support from other people. So don't feel that you cannot ask for other support from other people. I recently went to a training in the American Corner about how to make CVs. And imagine I'm somebody with 10 to 15 years experience. I was there with all these youth, and we were there, and as I came there with another colleague of mine also. She's also has probably more experience than me. And we attended the workshop on how to make a CV. And it was done by the American Embassy. And they gave us some training, they gave us some feedback. So what I'd like to say is that don't despise any training and feedback, even if you have experience. There's always an opportunity to get more information and to learn more. So in terms of recruitment, in other countries, people will be using software for recruitment. In other countries, maybe people don't have that much time to go through CVs. But I think in South Sudan, it's a bit different. I don't think we can compare ourselves with the influx that other countries have. Like, for example, the institution which I just worked in recently, they had call for applications. And then at the end, in the shortlisting, we ended up only being 2, which means that the call for applications did not receive a lot of people. I didn't get the details because some of these things are confidential to recruiters, and I'm not a recruiter myself. But in South Sudan, I think it will not be that, there won't be a high influx, but CVs are looked at by individuals, one by one, not necessarily by a computer or a software right now. So if an individual is looking at your CV, they have little time. Say they're getting 100, for example, 100 applications. I know that the other section had sorry? Yeah, it's only the UN that uses some systems. Yeah, exactly. So professional international organizations are likely to use these systems. I personally work for the UN 3 times. So I must have gone through the system, and I worked for them 3 times, and I was hired 3 times in the UN in different levels. So yes, the recruiters have very short time to look at your CV, and the appealing CV, the aesthetic CV, the simple CV, the clearly promoted language, the clearly concise language that's clear will get you noticed. So I think that's it for now. And I wanted us to discuss more about presentation in terms of career development. Like, how do we present ourselves, and presentation of our documents. And this time I'd like to ask more questions. I want to get your opinion. How important is presentation in terms of your career? I don't know if you're still alive.
Okay, yeah. Ayen, thank you so much for the comments, and also like supplementing the comments that were made earlier. So now we are moving to the last section of the presentation, where we'll be talking about the importance of presentation with aspects to different career paths. So before she dives into the session, she wants to find out, what do you think? What do you think? How have you used presentation to tap into opportunities? So this is the key question that we want to answer in this last part. If you feel free to share your thoughts as usual. You can, if you're in a noisy place that you cannot speak, just type your comments in the chat box. But if you can speak, you can just unmute. I see Gale, you are unmuted already. Kindly speak. Yes. So yeah, feel free to raise your hand and then share your experience on the importance of presentation. By the way, do we have ladies here? Looks like most of. By the way, I've I have I have a lot of experience with online meetings. Like I've done a lot of. I have actually put up a lot of online meetings for both DeFi Head now and an Excellence Foundation, but the attendance usually from female is very low. So sometimes in a meeting of over 50 attendees, we might have just 3 ladies and stuff. So sometimes I keep asking myself, what's up? What's the problem? Yes.
I'm wondering if I can answer
I think
that.
there are no.
The reason is because women are washing right now. They're washing and cleaning. Even before I came, I had to wash my clothes, all of my clothes, and clean the house. So that's why. And they're cooking.
Okay. What about during work hours? During work hours.
You say?
What about during work hours? Like, because sometimes we have the sessions during work hours. Like
okay, I'm not sure,
Friday,
but
after
I think we also need to promote women in the digital world. Maybe they're not so into technology. And then for the journalists, most of them are too busy. Even if they would like to, they don't have the time. They have stories to submit.
Okay, I see a hello from Pony. Pony, would you like to speak? Pony Joy? Would you like to say something on the importance of presentation, or generally answer the question we're talking about, low attendance of ladies in online forums, low participation actually. Even in WhatsApp group, I hardly see ladies putting views, like it's crazy. Okay, you can proceed, Ian. I don't think someone wants to speak.
Yes, it says here Pony is saying that she came a little bit late. And she wanted to elaborate on the CV. And then it says here, this is Joy. How can you summarize your CV in 2 pages only? In other words, what is needed most? It says, if you do the research online, women consume more internet. So how do you get them to come and train online? Okay, thank you, Emmanuel. And then it said, it's good to talk about your areas of expertise in your cover letter. This is from Bania Tom. So in terms of summarizing your CV into two pages, well, now this is there are different sections, as you saw. The section is your summary, your profile summary, and then you have your skills, like professional skills, and then you have your professional experience, and then you have your academic experience, and then you have your references. So now summarizing your CV is now about language. Using, basically talking less and writing less, because less can be said in less words. So OJ Dennis, this is now about learning to summarize. Summarize the long information into shorter words and more technical words that can describe what you're doing. I hope that's clear, OJ. Somebody said here women are not willing to learn. Okay, that's something else. And then for the CV, I think you heard Pony, that we talked about the CV, about the summary of how to make it. And then you can even find, you'll find formats, ready-made formats in Word. If you go to Word, you go to New, you go to CVs and resume, you'll find templates that are there. There are many templates there, so that you can have, like, there's a design that's already there. But the issue is not just about the design, it's now about the information. Even if I was to write your CV for you, if you're not providing me the information in the correct manner about your experiences, then it will be very hard for me to do your CV. So you have to be able to express what are the kind of jobs that you're doing, what kind of experience that you've had, what are the success, what are your achievements, what are your talents. It has to come across in the CV in a summarized manner. So people can do your CV for you, but it also has to do with, you know, what is it that you're doing as an individual. So it's a collaborative effort to make a CV. Yeah, you can get support from other people, but the reality is that you have to take interest, you have to take ownership of this process. You have to be able to put across what your skill sets are, what are your professional experiences, what have you done in a language that is concise and that can basically market yourself. You're marketing yourself. This is the biggest marketing tool that you have to get you a job. So I think that's about it. We can move to the next section if nobody else has anything to say. Okay, thank you. So we can move to presentation. I hope I'm loud and clear. Yes. So let us move to presentation. The reason why I wanted to ask about presentation, to talk about presentation, is that in South Sudan, as you know, we are coming from a 21-year war. And then there was a war that broke out. We had independence for some 6 years? And then war broke out in 2013. War broke out again in 2016. So I wanted to talk about how, you know, our presentation impacts us when we're applying for a job. Our attitude impacts us. And some of the attitudes that we have when we're applying for a job, I've noticed that it's not present in this forum, but I've noticed when I've been dealing with people is that we have a sense of entitlement. We believe that when we apply for a job, you should get the job. But we don't realize that it's a process that everybody undergoes in the whole world. Indeed, in some cases, there's favoritism, there's nepotism, there's tribalism. It happens. But in other situations, it's just a process that you have to go through, and hopefully may the best person win the job. So the way you present yourself as an individual, it makes a difference. Like when we apply for a job, we don't need to have the sense of entitlement that I applied for this job, I must get this job. So also we have to have an attitude and personality. We have to be able to have the right body language and right presentation as an individual. So when they meet you in the interview, I mean, this would have been another topic, but I didn't prepare it as such. But when you go for the interview, when they meet you, the way you present yourself in the interview matters. Like when they see you, do they like you? When they see you, do you go there? Do you start shouting? Are you rude? Because, you know, we Junubin, we like saying, Nina Junubin, Nina Btamashakil. You know, we have to, there's some attitudes that we have to change. Good enough, I've not seen this in this forum, but I would really like to extend that to a wider forum of youth, where the way that they present themselves, even verbally, like sometimes they're aggressive, and we are aggressive, and the way if you express yourself in a threatening manner in an interview, then somebody may not like you, they may not choose you. Maybe they look at you, they see that you're threatening. You know, like when you're in an interview, you're being examined, actually. They're cross-examining you. 3 to 4 people are in the interview trying to see, does this person sound like they're a lazy person? Does this person sound like they're a violent person? Does this person look like a person who would fit into our institution? So the way you present yourself matters, your body language, your active listening. Another problem that one of the skills that is required for us is that we should be able to listen actively. Like you're in a interview, were you listening to the questions that were being asked? Were you following instructions? Because even with the letter that is sent to you by email, or the letter or the document that is sent online or in the newspaper, the advert that has been sent, did you follow instructions? Because they'll ask you to put dear hiring personnel, this is how you should address it. Have you followed the instructions? One of the problems that we have is that we don't actively listen and we don't actively read. Somebody will send you a document and then you're asking, what time will it be? Where is the document? Where is the email? Yet all of these things are within the email. So it is very important for us to be present, to be self-aware. These are some of the skills that we require in our presentation. Being self-aware, being present, actively listening, actively reading. And then also we have to be friendly. Are we friendly? Are we approachable? When they see us, do they feel like they can recruit us as an individual? So these are some of the things that we need to think about. And also, are we taking care of our mental health? You know, mental health is a topic that is going to be mainstreamed, and in the world, it's being mainstreamed in all institutions and in all policies. So mental health is important, and we need to take it seriously in South Sudan. Are we mentally healthy people when we're going for recruitment? Like, what did you do the night before? Did you go out and go drinking and go get wasted, and then now you're going for your interview? Or did you have a fight with someone the night before, and then now you're going to your interview and then you're stressed? So your mental health really plays an impact on your presentation, how you're viewed. How do you look? Do you look like you're stressed? Do you look like you're dressed well? Maybe because of stress, you can even not dress well, and it's not because you mean to do that, but you're under pressure. A lot is happening with you. And it can happen to the best of us because we're all going through something. But we have to prioritize our self-care. And in the trainings that I've been having in digital security, I had a training about women in news, where they talk about the professionalism of media experts, journalists, reporters, and editors. And they talked about mental health, and they talked about productivity, about presentation, about networking, but mental health is the biggest component. So when we're going to apply for a job, are we self-aware about our health? Are we taking care of our health? Are we taking care of our mental health? Are we in a balanced disposition? How do we feel? How do we present ourselves? So mental health is a very big component that's very important. Presentation is important for your life, for your career, for your networking. You need to present yourself well in the documents, present it in the right English, the right format, concise, the relevant information, follow instructions. Don't put any funny fonts. If they did not ask for cursive, don't put cursive. If they didn't ask for a picture, don't put a picture. So you have to make sure you present yourself well because you followed the instructions. If they tell you to email it here, you email it to the right place. In examinations at school and in different institutions and university, Some of the time you even get points, like in school, you get points just for putting your name. You get points just for following simple instructions. So it's very important for us to make sure that we present ourselves well by being present in the mind, present ourselves well by taking care of ourselves, self-care. And by the way, I'm a journalist, so when I'm not feeling mentally healthy, or if I'm under a lot of pressure, I can't even write. So that means I can even write a very funny CV or a very funny document, and then somebody will get it and they'll be like, what have you written here? So in order for you to be successful in presenting yourself in written, in verbal, in just in general as an individual, you have to take care of yourself. And that was what I wanted to share about how presentation matters, how you're viewed matters, how you interact matters when you're networking. And then I wanted to talk about networking, in that networking is very important. Indeed, we're going through a lot in this country. And I wanted to tell you about my own experiences. I have 3 jobs where I did not get the job. And I wanted to share this experience because it's not just about the process, but it's also about how do we manage ourselves. So the first job that I applied for a job in UNDP. And that was about something like 15 years ago. But what helped was the fact that I applied, the job was taken, my CV was taken to UNDP. And then I waited until I almost gave up. And then when the mission came, the peacekeeping mission came, my CV was already with them. And that was 2 years later, even after I had almost given up. So I wanted to say that when you apply for a job and you don't get an answer immediately, never give up. One day, one time, it may happen. I applied for another job, which I didn't get. And I also got I think I even cried. It's my first time to cry about a job. So that was some years back. And then the job that I didn't get, unfortunately, it was the people who were in the recruitment, they were all from one area. And I think they ended up giving the job to somebody from their own area. So that really hurt me, but I decided to take it easy and realize that this job was not for me. So the latest job that I applied for that I didn't get was a very, very big job. But what was required for me was above my expertise. It required a master's and maybe even a PhD. I didn't get the job because it was a highly technical job. And it inspired me that I have to go back to school so that I can become the person that I want to be. Like, for example, say I want to be a lecturer. If I want to be a lecturer, I'll need to have a master's. I'll need to have, if I want to be a professor, I'll need to have a PhD. So I would like us to be able to look into our own skills and our own skill sets to see what is it that's missing from us so that we can increase our skill sets, increase our qualifications, and keep growing as we go towards our career path. And I would like to end there, and I'd like to take any questions. I decided to make it more of an experience sharing because I believe that people have some experiences about going for jobs. But it's not just because your CV, there's anything wrong with your CV. It's good to know the format. It's good to know the procedures. It's good to know how to network. It's good to know how to present yourself, but it's also good to have the discussion. The discussion is important. Have your mentors, have your friends, have the discussion, and let us change and move forward together. Thank you for listening, and I would love to take any more interventions and reactions.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Ayen. We just 2 minutes to close as scheduled. Thank you so much once again for sharing your experiences with all of us and also for sharing best practices. So for those of you who joined late, I would just like to make a summary of some of the key things that Ayen talked about during the discussion. So she started with the aspect of writing a resume. Just a resume is just a CV, sort of a brief summary of your skills, your education, and everything. And I think it pretty much sells you because it's the first contact point that a recruiter makes with you actually before meeting you. So it is what sells you off. And she said that, first of all, it shouldn't exceed like 2 pages, because it should be brief, because like the person or the recruiter may not have that a lot of time to read through hundreds of CVs that they might receive at a particular time. So the components, one, it must have the header. So the header is sort of like, all of you know a header, like the headers of organizational letters and stuff. But in the case of your CV, it should just have your name and then your contact information, like your phone number and then your email. And then she also said that your email should be very professional. Like maybe your email should be banyatom@gmail.com. Maybe avoid these funny emails like maybe I've seen a lot of funny emails that are not professional. So you should avoid that so that you look like a serious person. And somehow you may also include your physical address, if you like, in the header. And then after the header, you need to also include the professional summary. So the professional summary is sort of like your professional summary, pretty much like a short paragraph of 4 lines or so that sums up everything about you, your years of experience, some of the key accomplishments that you've made, and probably your aspirations. And then after the professional summary, she talks about having your skills. So the skills are usually hard skills and soft skills. So the hard skills are technical. Some of the things, yes, yeah, good. The hard skills are technical things that are related to your area of study or expertise. And then the soft skills are those skills that everyone must have, yeah? Like knowing how to communicate well, knowing how to write good emails, knowing how to use Microsoft applications, knowing how to use a computer or a phone properly. These are soft skills that you must have. And then after that, you will then put your work experience. So your work, or what in our CV is written as professional experience. So the professional experience should come before the education, because that is what the recruiter is interested in. And after that, you can put your educational background. And then if required, if the recruiter wants, if it is an application where the recruiter wants references, then you can put the references. And also if they are interested in knowing how many languages you speak, you can also put the languages now there. And then she moved on to talk about the cover letter, where she talked about making sure that like your cover letter is pretty straightforward, and it should focus on what you have done in the past. It should focus on what you have done in the past and what successes you want to bring to the organization. Why should the organization hire you? Yeah, what makes you stand out from other? You see, like here, she in her you see in a cover letter, like I'm very impressed. Like there's nothing like I am applying, I am expressing my interest, blah blah blah. Like she moves it straightforward. She talk about like her accomplishments and what she can do and and then she moved on aspects of again the networking aspect. So she said that like when you go to workshops, for instance, you should be able to grab these opportunities for attending workshops, attending training sessions. And when you go to this, maybe if there's something that is in the country or outside the country, don't go just because you want to take photos in those locations or because you want to see beautiful places that you will later post on social media, but go and connect with people. Tell them about what you can do, about what your organization can do, and then sell yourself. Sell yourself, because if you don't sell yourself, nobody else will go and sell you. And then she moved on to talk about the last part, which was the aspects of presentation. Yeah, you need to be very, very presentable always. You need to dress well. You need to be very articulate when you're speaking to people. You need to be very, very natural. Don't try to fake things, especially when maybe you are in an oral interview or you have an appointment with someone and you are having a discussion. Make sure that the discussion is very honest. Make sure that you're very natural and do not try to like anyway. Yeah, try to be real. um, yes, so that's pretty much what summarizes this discussion for today, and we would like to thank each and every one of you for sharing your thoughts and for the discussion. We wish you the very best of your afternoons, and do take very good care of yourself until we meet again some other time. Once again, Ayen, thank you very, very much. This has been a time well spent, and we'll have something to reflect on this weekend and probably have better things coming our way in the coming days, weeks, and even months. Enjoy your
Just
afternoon.
one interjection.
Okay.
Yes, I think we discussed this. We said that maybe we can allow you to go and revise your CV, and then we can come back and share the CVs, discuss what have you done with your CV. Like maybe we can have a look at some of the CVs in maybe a couple of weeks, and then yeah, have a look at what have you done with the applied knowledge in terms of networking, presentation. Has it made a difference? I really like that story about the gentleman who got his CV edited and immediately his door started opening. So with this applied knowledge, we can come back and discuss, has there been any differences, or have you changed your CV? Have you done anything differently? Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, so here that means that there is an assignment for all of us, yeah? Go and try to go get a particular job advertisement, just any advertisement that probably maybe it has expired, like it's not necessarily because you want to apply for it, but an advertisement that is related to what you do, yeah? Get that advertisement and then tailor your CV and cover letter to the needs of that job advertisement. Let's give ourselves 2 weeks. It's good to have a timeline, Ian. We can have 2 weeks for you to do that. Just get any job advertisement of your choice and then revise your CV. We will share the samples of the CV in a Google Drive link. I think I have some samples. You can plus cover letters. You can then work on your CVs based on those recommendations, and then based on the job example that you are going to use for this assignment, and then you can share with us via email. Ian, maybe once again you can share your email so that they can send, and then you can copy us. So for us, our email is hello@excellencefoundation.org. So you want to send us, and you can send the email to us also, and we can forward to Ian, or you can just write. You can just send to all of us, and then send to Ian, and then put us in the CC. So this is our email. Yeah, so that at least we can see if there are any learning gains. Yeah, it's a 2-week assignment. Another thing, Ian?
I just wanted to say thank you for attending. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the opportunity. And I really appreciate all of you. Thank you again. And thank you, Excellence Foundation, because I also attend your trainings and I really benefit from them. Thank you.
Okay, great. Yeah. So in the WhatsApp group, we share a lot of opportunities, fellowships, for those who run organizations, grant opportunities, for those of you who are different professionals. So always when you see any of them that aligns with your profession or with your organization, you can always check them out. Someone is asking, how can we contact you? Of course, join the WhatsApp group. Like we said, all of us are in that WhatsApp group, including Ian. So we will always respond to any comments and queries there. So always join those groups. And then also the email for Ayen has been shared. Make sure that you reach out to her through those contacts. The very best of your afternoon once again.